and we'll get started. Welcome everybody to today's Kubernetes 124 release team meeting. It's Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. My name is Jesse Butler. I am a release shadow for this release. Please note that this meeting, as with all Kubernetes meetings, is covered by the CNCF and Kubernetes Code of Conduct. Please reference that for all of your interactions today. It can be summarized as please be excellent to one another. Thank you very much. Please, if you're present and haven't yet, add your name to the attendees list on the meeting agenda and the notes. We are just inside of a month away from our release date of the 19th of April. Part one of our mid-cycle 124 release retro meeting is going to be scheduled exactly after this at the hour. So 1 hour from now, please join us. And the link to the retrospective doc is in the open discussion section of this team's minutes. Let's get started with updates from our leads. We can start with enhancements.
Hi everyone, enhancement current status is currently yellow. The team has gone through all the enhancement that we're tracking and 17 of them are meeting requirements for code freeze. We have 24 alpha, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm reading off the screen. 24 alpha, 19 beta, 16 stable and 2 deprecations. Yeah, we'll continue to check in and thank you to James for sending out the announcement.
Thank you, Grace. Sorry about that. My touch sensitivity went nuts and it just started scrolling. So sorry about that. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Grace and the enhancements team? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to CI Signal.
Hello, everybody. So our current status is yellow. This morning, we saw 3 new failing tests due to the version bump from Golang 1.18. There's already a PR out to fix issues. So we have 1 failing less right now. One of the failings should also be resolved due to this PR, which is merged. The other failing, we are observing this one, and we will open an issue if it persists for a day or 2. Yeah. Besides that, everything is fine. We still have one flaky, which we actually opened an issue for a month ago or so. Would be nice if somebody could look at this. I will ping people maybe by today or so to raise a bit of awareness. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let us know if we can help amplify that. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for CI Signal? All right, thanks so much. We'll move to bug triage.
Yeah, hi everyone. So our current status is yellow. We have 3 blocking issues and we would like to discuss them, but we have 0 PRs and yeah, getting close. Most of the PRs almost getting closed. But yeah, we woke up today for 2 other blocking issue for the release, so we would like to discuss them. Other than that, yeah, nothing.
Okay, would you like to discuss the blocking issues now,
Yeah,
or?
the first one, I already added the links to them here in the discuss blocking issue. One of them is the Docker gem, and because we're close to code freeze, I would like to know the status for that. And the 2 other blocking issue is the failing tests that already have been discussed with the CI signal, but I need to know more details about that and the estimate. I believe the Docker gem is for related to the doc, SecDoc, there is a couple of docs were missing, and we would like to know the status for that.
Okay.
Nate, do you want
Yeah,
to?
Nate, is that something that SIGDocs is tracking right now?
The feedback and issue, this is I think sort of an umbrella issue. And Ray has linked to that board, which if you click on that, it's we've got about half. So what we did was we went through at the beginning of the cycle and found all of the instances of Docker and Docker Shim throughout the documentation, and have been going through a process to find and replace with either alternatives or removals if needed. We've got, I think, about half of the remaining issues with PRs in flight. About half are assigned and are still being actively worked on, and we are there's a couple of issues that haven't been assigned just yet, and those ones we'll be bringing up in the next meeting on probably, I think it's Tuesday mornings. For the most part, it's all piecemeal, so I don't think that any individual issue should be a release blocker in this case. So I don't know if we have like a critical mass yet, but I don't think that I'm concerned that the Docker Shim docs, the docs, I always say this wrong. I don't think that the Docker Shim removal from docs project is going to be a blocker in this case. Does that track with what, I know, James, you were at the last meeting. Does that track with what your concerns are?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think my feeling is we're already in a pretty good state with these docs. Not everything, well, it seems unlikely that everything is going to get completely finished by the release, but I don't think it needs to be. I think as long as there's nothing like blatantly incorrect in the docs, I'm pretty happy.
Right.
So
does that solve your concern, Eva?
Yeah, so should we still have like release blocker on this issue until we fix all the docs, or what do you think about that?
that's a good question. Do we take off release blocker?
Well, if we're saying that I would vote to take it off because again, it's not, well, it's an umbrella issue. There's like 50 individual issues that comprise it. And so now that being said, this particular issue is an umbrella issue, not just for the docs. It's also an umbrella issue for, because this is in KK, this looks like an umbrella issue for the actual removal from the code. And I've been told that it's been removed from the code already. So then it's just the docs that are left. We're on it. And I don't see any individual one of these issues being a blocker. So I think that the concern was, like, I mean, if we were in a worse position, I would say it's still a blocker, but I'm not convinced it is now. But I'm not sure I've made my argument very well. So I'm happy to hear the other side of it.
How about I put a comment on the issue asking if people are happy to remove the release blocker label, and we try and get lazy consensus that way and see if anyone throws up their hands and says absolutely not, this is ridiculous.
I like that better than just dropping it.
I also like that.
Yeah.
Getting community feedback is always a good idea.
All right, I will add a comment.
Yeah, good call,
Thank you,
James.
James.
Yeah, and the other two issues are the testing failing. So I believe the CI they are working on that, but Signal CI working on that. But if there is any more context or something to to any time estimate, anything like that, I'd appreciate to know.
Yeah, one of these is just from like 6 hours ago. This one is this a a tracking issue or?
I think this one, which is currently open, should be resolved because it's not failing anymore. This was actually the release blocker for the last release cut, but Eddie and so on, they fixed it. So this should be done.
Perfect. And for the tracker, this is only tracking issue. Okay, yeah, thank you. That's it. That's it for me.
Yeah, thanks. Do we need, can somebody just resolve this issue due to the other merges?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's great. Thank you. And thank you, Heba. Does anybody have any further questions for bug triage? Sorry, Meha, I muted you, so I wasn't talking to myself anymore. All right, thank you so much. We'll move on to docs now. Now you can unmute yourself again.
So hello everyone, our current status is yellow. Integration branch is healthy. We are currently tracking 62 KPs, out of which 29 are left with placeholder PRs, 9 we have draft PRs, 11 are ready for review, and 7 completely merged, and 6 don't require docs. We have had some movement since last week, but as the deadline for the placeholder PR is getting closer, we are and we have still not get half of the placeholder PRs. So yes, we are continuing updating. So yes, that's it. Thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button. Thank you so much, Meha. Yeah, this is pretty typical of releases, right? You're going to have a lot of placeholders come in this week. I meant to mention before, we are just shy of 7 days from code freeze. So that's typically one of those tipping points where everybody's focusing on that, and then you'll get a bunch of placeholders in. But thank you, docs team. Any questions for docs? All right, thank you. We'll move on to release notes.
Hey, the major themes discussion is open. Alpha 4 release notes are underway, and we're green. So any questions?
Oh, that's great. Any questions from anyone? That's pretty straightforward. Awesome. Are the major themes coming together? It just opened. I was looking for this the other day.
Yes.
Just opened, yeah.
So obviously the graduate to GA and betas are going in it, and the Docker shim, and there's been a couple other recommendations in the release notes channel.
Cool. Yeah, there's going to be definitely some heavy hitting major themes here. So awesome. So everybody, yeah, can jump into that conversation on that discussion. Any other questions for release notes? Okay, we can move on to comms.
Good morning and evening, everybody. So our current status is yellow. This is just because we spent the last week or so following up with every single SIG with enhancements in this release, that is, to remind them about submitting content for feature blogs. The feature blogs are actually due today, which is March 23rd. But our plan is to extend the deadline probably to March 30th in order to get some more folks with placeholder PRs. So if you have friends that have worked on enhancements, or if you yourself have worked on an enhancement and you'd really like to see a feature blog, go ahead and add it to our spreadsheet. And if you don't have permissions to add it to our spreadsheet, that's not a problem. Just ping me directly on the Kubernetes Slack, and I will make sure that your thing gets added. Also, if I'm not available, please reach out to the release comms channel, because we have 4 great shadows who are diligently tracking that channel and adding content for folks who don't have access. Also worth calling out that the 1.24 removals blog post is in the process of being not removed, but reviewed. This is what happens when you multitask, and will be published a little over a week from today on the 31st of March. The last thing to call out is that we're currently coordinating a Docker Shim related press opportunity. James kindly agreed to jump in and talk to the press about Docker Shim. And so that should be done, I believe, by the end of the week this week.
That's great. Thanks, Mickey. Does anybody have any questions for comms? Okay. Thanks so much. We'll move on to release branch management. Is Nabarun on?
Hey everyone. Yeah,
Oh, hey.
I'm here. So we're green. We had a very quick release yesterday. Took like comparatively lesser time than the patch releases. So Alpha 4 is live, and next week we are up for Beta 0 right after code freeze. So we will let the CI settle for a bit and then start cutting the release. I expect that to be quick as well. Also, one thing to note is I'm also looking at the CI signal and the issues that have recently cropped up. So I'm pretty sure they will be solved this week itself. But yeah, I think that's one of the major blockers, whether we could release next week on time. And that's all on my end.
Okay, thanks so much. Does anybody have any questions for Navarone and release branch management? Awesome. Okay. Next up is the Emeritus Advisor with Joseph.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're all doing great. Hey, it's kind of cool. I just noticed that Dims is in our meeting. I think it's awesome when we have people like that show up from our community. So I've been working with all you release leads, thinking about kind of like succession. You're all doing great jobs. We'd love to keep having you on, and sometimes it does happen. But we always try to look to develop individuals to continue to grow from that shadow into lead roles. So I'm starting to have conversations with the release team's leads to see, like, those individuals who have expressed an interest and trying to see, how they can kind of become a lead as well. And if that is still something of interest, we're still taking, you're taking that interest in. For you leads that have replied to me, all of you have up to this point, I'm working with James. And one of the other things we have to do is we need to think about, like, who's going to need like 125. And that's kind of in motion. We need to kind of start getting that in place so then we can make all the other dominoes fall. So patience, I will work on getting back to all of you with my feedback, but thank you so far for everything that you have given me. And I have to say one thing, I'm really just amazed to hear a lot of the feedback about the teams. Everybody's doing great, and we're exactly where we need to be at. So thanks everybody so far for like a great ride with 124 so far. We're going to jump into our retro here shortly. So one call out I was going to say, I kind of mentioned, hey, individuals, can you take a look at it? And I've gotten great kind of like things about this release cycle so far, but we have previous items that need to be addressed. So don't take it personal when I'm calling you out, but I did see, like, Jesse, I think I need you to give me some updates of action items. Leo as well, I think I have you in there as well. So if you could just take a quick glance at it before. We have special guest, Lockie Evenson. He's going to move us through. Lockie's amazing, and it's going to be a great retro. So we'll see you here shortly in that meeting, which will kick off just a little bit around 10 PST. That's it for me. Thanks, everybody. I hope the rest of your week is great.
Thanks, Joseph. Does anybody have any questions for Joseph? Awesome. We'll talk to you in about 40 minutes. It moves us on to the release lead and James.
I didn't write anything down because I forgot to, but I do have updates. So yes, we have of course been talking about succession. I have some stuff to review from Joseph Fair, which I've not done because I'm terrible, but I will get on that. Also been thinking about release lead for 125. That is a discussion which I am beginning to have with people. So it is ongoing. I can't really say much more than that at this point, I'm afraid. what else? Next week, we are beginning our daily burn down meetings. Probably there's a note about that in the retro, but presuming we do, we will add Tuesday and Thursday meetings. My current plan is to add the Tuesday meeting at the 11 a.m. UTC time, same as on the Friday, and at the Thursday meeting at this time, the 4 p.m. UTC, just to have consistency, so we only have 2 possible times for meetings. If people don't like this, let me know and we can set up a doodle or something. Other than that, there is of course the media opportunity, which Mickey mentioned. I'll be speaking to someone on Friday about that, which is going to be interesting. Yeah, in general, I'm pretty happy with how things are going. Things seem pretty good. So yeah, I'm calm.
So
I don't know if that's good.
Pretty good. All right, that's good.
Pretty good.
Thank you, James. Does anyone have any questions for the release lead? Okay, thank you. And that brings us to the SIG scalability check-in. It looks like the status there is okay. James, do you have anything to add?
No, I haven't heard anything beyond okay. So they're happy, I'm happy.
Okay, cool. And then shall we walk the project board? I've not done this before, so tell me if I do it wrong. So do you want to, I'm not sure how you want to prioritize this or how you typically do.
I think a lot of this is stuff that is being worked on by the wider SIG, like the deprecations, that's kind of a SIG level thing, in my opinion. Shadowing template, I think we would chase, last I looked at the shadowing template thing, that 688 and the second thing there, that was something we think we've already done, and we were just verifying it. I'm not sure if we got an answer back on that one.
Sorry if I make anybody dizzy.
Okay, yeah, I asked in January about it and I've not heard anything, so I'm tempted just to close it, honestly. Yeah, I don't think there's been any movement on this since January.
Yeah, I mean, that might speak to the need for it. I mean, if there's nobody talking about it, is this might be in retro actually. Is this in the retrospective?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I think that from what I recalled of the conversation, it was that there is like a generic shadowing template, a generic shadowing section in the handbook that got added, which fulfills this criteria.
Yeah.
And we were just asking whether this has covered that or not. And yeah, I don't know. What do people think? Do people think that the shadowing information in the documentation is insufficient? Could it be better?
Don't all speak up at once.
Well,
Yes,
I think that might be to my point. Is somebody saying something?
Yeah. So like last SIG release meeting, I proposed that we have like a one-pager for CS Signal as a like handbook to basically show quickly what the team is doing. So maybe this is a bit related. So I think, yeah, there's definitely something that can be done to improve the onboarding. Yeah, so maybe I think like have it separate from the handbook would be good, because if we have the handbook, which is like 20 pages and one section is about shadowing, maybe, I don't know, maybe I have not read the entire issue, but I think this is still kind of something that we can work on.
Okay. Yeah, I think this issue was more about a generic template, which I think that was part of the conversation that we had, where it was like we have some generic information about shadowing in sort of the global doc, and then each of the handbooks kind of has to treat shadows according to that function of the team. So I think this is just maybe stalled out because we might be on one hand talking about multiple things, and on the other hand, nobody's really super passionate about a generic template. That's my take. I sort of feel like this maybe should have gone into a retro for more discussion.
Add it to the retro for now and we'll discuss it. And if we're happy with it, we can close this. I think, yeah, this is a pretty narrow issue.
Yeah.
And so either we should close it or we should convert it to an umbrella issue. My feeling
Well,
being.
I'll take an AI and I'll grab this and bring it into the retro talk.
Sure.
And then I'll just do that after the call.
Sure.
Because I can't do two things at once. Is there anything else that we should look at here? Not sure if there was something that we had tabled from like the last meeting or. I'm kind of looking at you, James, just to know if you want to spend the time or if you want to just wrap.
No, in general, I haven't been doing this. At least, oh, my camera's had a problem. Okay, I'm blurry now. There we go. In general, I think this is really, a lot of this is more kind of SIG release level stuff. This is not really for us to fix. I mean, ultimately, it's the same people fixing it, let's be honest, but it's whether or not we do it now or later. I think
we don't have to do it right now. That completely cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
so then I will say that we've worked through our agenda. Thanks everyone very much. I'm going to turn off the recording.